So, everybody, this is Anja. Anja, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do for Club Soda?
Yes, hello. I didn't brush my hair. I told you that I would, and I lied. So my name is Anja. I'm based in Leeds. Um, and for Club Soda, I do some sort of content for the website. So tasting drinks and telling you guys what they're like. And little bits and bobs towards research for the future of Club Soda.
So, Anja's doing some research. She's building the biggest database of alcohol-free drinks ever. So soon we'll be able to tell you about every single drink and where to buy it from. But the other thing that she does, which is really important, is do our drink reviews. Because there came a point where Jen and Lucy were doing the beer reviews and they were just going, oh, it's quite hoppy and malty. And I was going with other drinks, oh, well, it's not too sweet and it tastes really okay. And we realized that as reviews go, that wasn't very good. And we wanted to find somebody who had got used to tasting things and had a bit more of a palate. And actually, we recruited you from Crafty Beer Girls, which is a group of women interested in beer. But do you want to tell us a bit more about where your relationship with beer is at the moment, Anja? Is that?
Yeah, so, well, to be honest, at the moment, I barely drink any beer. Which I'm really enjoying. I still work in beer, so I work in sales for a brewery and I host brewery tours and tastings for another brewery. For me personally, I think just over the last sort of year and a half, I've really, well, I think since I met you guys, I think, have just really altered how I function within that industry, because it becomes very easy to be going to sort of visit breweries and go to beer festivals and just get yourself in a bit of a rut with it. So I still love beer, but I'm not particularly drinking any, which I love.
And the good thing you've been doing is receiving lots of packages with lots of interesting stuff in. And part of that is the drinks that we've got coming up at the festival. So I wanted to just talk through some of those drinks with you, and you need to tell me if you've tasted some of them, because if you haven't tasted some of them, then I have. And so between us, we can talk about those. We've got 3 sponsors for the festival. We've got Heineken Zero, which you guys would have all seen before, which is very popular. CEDER'S and Fever Tree. And I have a feeling you might not have tasted CEDER'S, Anja.
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Heineken Zero, just where that fits in that spectrum of beers, having been a real beer ale person, and how you feel about Heineken Zero. Say nice things.
Always. If I'm honest, I'm not, I've never been a lover of lager, but I've been drinking a lot more non-alcoholic beers recently. And the issue that they tend to have is that often they don't have much body to them. When you first start brewing a beer, you basically get all of your grain, your malt, you mix it with hot water and you're starting to extract sugars. And after that process, the liquid that you have is called wort, and it's quite a hot, sweet liquid. And then it continues on the process, you're adding hops and yeast and everything, and it becomes very different by the end of it. The issue that I find with a lot of non-alcoholic beers is that they still have that kind of worty quality to them. They're a little bit sickly and malty. What I really like about the Heineken Zero is that I think it's a very good replica of their full strength products. So just in terms of flavor, it's just a bit more balanced. It has a little bit more grassiness, less of that sweetness, and a little bit floral. It's just more authentic. And I think the ones that aren't so good tend to just taste a bit sweet and naff.
No, I think that's a really good analysis. And actually, I'm going to get you to write a little bit more about what that process is for an alcohol-free beer and why people feel it may lack body. The other thing is alcohol is a flavour enhancer generally. And so without the alcohol in, the flavours have to stand up far more on their own, I think.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think a lot of the issue as well may be that people don't maybe place as much importance on the flavour of their non-alcoholic product. And I think maybe overlook certain processes that would maybe be more costly but would add more flavour. So with lots of beers, you might dry hop and continue adding hops throughout the brew process, which is going to bring more flavour and more aroma. And I think those extra touches are maybe neglected a bit when it comes to some of the more, I guess, basic non-alcoholic beers. Whereas then you have, you know, some of the amazing people that we know in London that are brewing only alcohol-free beer and adding such incredible flavour and body. So it can definitely be done. And I think it's just neglected in some cases. But I really enjoy the Heineken as a nice alternative, just easygoing. Really
yeah,
good.
and I think definitely re-listen to this bit of Anja's interview, and then you get to meet Willem, which is Heineken's master brewer, and you can actually go up to him then and say, well, you know, I reckon with some alcohol-free beers, you know, how did you make sure that you refine those finishes and do those things, and see if you can bamboozle him with a few questions. That'd be awesome. The other drink that you've not tried yet, so we should get you some, is CEDER'S, which is an alcohol-free gin and tonic. Which they're calling an alt gin. So unlike Seedlip, which doesn't like you to call it gin at all, which I understand why, because actually they don't have a very junipery taste, and so they want you to see it as distilled spirit and not compare it to gin. CEDER'S is happy for you to compare yourself to gin, itself to gin. And more importantly is, I think Seedlip is 0.05, whereas CEDER'S is 0.5, and there's something about that tiny extra bit of the process that gives it a slightly different quality. And I found these interesting. I tend to drink all of these drinks neat, these distilled botanicals, partly because I'm on a diet and they've got no calories in, although I ate 3 puddings yesterday. So the diet is a bit of a moot point at the moment, but I think these also hold themselves up better in a tonic than Seedlip does. And CEDER'S is now available in Tesco's and in Sainsbury's, and it's definitely worth looking out for. It's £20 a bottle, so it is cheaper than Seedlip as well. Behind CEDER'S is Pernod Ricard, and a bit like Seedlip, it's come from a personal exploration of this area, and then they found an investor. And Maria and Craig, who have created CEDER'S, are absolutely lovely, and it came out of both of their South African and Swedish influences, but also because Maria was pregnant and wanted something interesting to drink. And I always find those stories where there's that personal passion behind a brand that makes that real big difference in terms of the quality around it. And so if you haven't tried it yet, they do 3 flavors, which are crisp, classic and wild. And I think they're all really good, but it also means that there's something for each palate. So give CEDER'S a shot, guys. I'd like to hear more of your views about it, actually. And remember to suspend your beliefs around this sort of thing. I often think that half of the problem with people trying alcohol-free beers is they're already expecting not to like it. And so they're already looking for the differences rather than seeing them as a drink in their own right. And again, if all you've ever done is tried Seedlip in this space, then definitely try and give CEDER'S a try. Get a bottle, share it with a friend, have a bit of a tasting, work out the right balance between tonic and CEDER'S, or work out whether you prefer it with soda. A lot of people often say to me they don't like gin and tonic, and it turns out it's the bitterness of the tonic they don't like rather than the product that's in it.
With that as well, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right, it's good.
With tonic, I think trying something like maybe like a Fentimans or a small organic producer or something similar is always going to bring more to your drinking experience than, you know, just kind of like the giant bottles of Indian tonic water that you get for 50p. So I think choosing your tonic really carefully actually makes a huge difference to how much you'll enjoy that as well.
Yeah, and Fever Tree are obviously coming as our mixer at the event, and they also have some really good products that stand on their own. No, CEDER'S isn't clovey like Seedlip. They're 3 very different tastes. They're not similar to the tastes of Seedlip at all, actually. They've got their own distinctive tastes. Just to say that Fever Tree, if you haven't tried it yet, there are some of their products that that are flavoured tonics. I love their elderflower tonic. Quite a few people drank that yesterday at the lunch. Their Angostura bitters tonic, what they call, wait a minute, aromatic tonic water, again, is a really nice drink, but easy to replicate with just a normal tonic, actually. So if you're in any pub asking for Angostura bitters or any bitters that they put in their cocktails into your tonic will also help. But they've also got a smoky ginger beer, ginger ale, which is really lovely on its own. They've clearly designed it as a mixer, but all of these things are really great on their own, and you can lengthen them with soda as well. Nice. So I think we probably need to do a few more trying outs with Fever Tree products, actually, and trying a little bit more about how they work on their own, because they do tend to be quite small bottles as well. So what else have you tried? I think you've tried Slandvar. Tell us a bit more about Slandvar.
I'm drinking it right now.
Are you drinking it warm right now?
I'm drinking it warm,
yeah. So tell people about Slandvar. Tell me what it stands for.
Cheers.
Yeah, that was a test. Panic, making me speak Celtic.
Yeah, so they use lime and ginger and honey, and if you drink it neat, I think it's a really nice sort of sipping drink because it's got quite a bit of acidity to it. It's not something you just want to chuck back, so it's something to kind of take your time over. I think the best way that I've had it was with sparkling water and fresh mint, which I spoke to Sarah from Slandvar and asked her for some suggestions, and she said that's how all her family like to drink it. I feel like that would be really nice if you were having a bit of an occasion, like a nice meal, or having people around sitting out in the garden. It just looks a bit fancy, and yeah, it's really tasty. And then at the moment I'm drinking it hot, so I've just mixed it with hot water. And I think, again, it's kind of like that nostalgia, you know, when you're a kid and you're poorly and your mum makes you like a honey and lemon or whatever. It's that similar kind of thing. There's something really kind of healing about it when you're drinking it warm. So yeah, I've actually been enjoying that for a few days now. I've just finished it. I've been stretching it out.
So actually, it's a versatile drink in your cupboard that can be drunk warm, can be lengthened, and also drunk on its own with a meal. And Sarah says it's only 15 calories per 100 mils. So yeah, we're used to thinking about lemon and honey products as being quite heavy, whereas actually this is very light in comparison, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, because when I looked at what was in it, I was expecting it to be, I think because of the honey, I thought it might be quite viscous, but it's not. It's still very light and kind of clean in texture. And it's low in sugar, which, as you're saying, you kind of wouldn't really expect so much when you're tasting honey flavors. So yeah. So,
and she definitely wanted to create it as something that would be an alternative to wine, as opposed to a soft drink that you might drink when you've got a cold, which again is where you see honey and lemon in your head. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying if you get to the festival, or you can now buy it from their website. So that's linked on the website. We've got 2 kombuchas at the festival. The first is Clever Kombucha. Did you try Clever Kombucha?
I didn't try them this time around, but I have had them a couple of months ago when we had our big kombucha roundup. Have you had them recently?
I haven't tried them at all. I met them at an event. But what's really interesting, I'll just tell everyone about what Clever Kombucha are doing at the festival, which is they're launching the first ever coffee kombucha, which is, rather than brewing the kombucha with sweet tea, which is basically how you make kombucha, and then you let the SCOBY do its work, they are doing one with coffee. So they're launching a coffee kombucha at the festival, which I'm quite looking for. I look forward to. I've tried very hard not to grow to like coffee because I feel it would be very dangerous for me. But I'm looking forward to trying the coffee kombucha. So that's definitely one to look out for at the festival.
Yeah, I think they have quite a nice range of flavors, because they've got their kind of original oak one is a lot more earthy, a bit smoky, and then they've got some quite fun, much lighter ones. So they've got, I remember one of them being a watermelon one.
Yes.
So it's quite a nice contrast across their range.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the original oak, actually. So yeah, that's cool. And did you try Summerhouse drinks at all? I've tried them. So if you haven't.
I have. I've got some here. But if you'd like to chat
put
about
them on
camera.
I haven't got. No, I haven't got any bottles with me because I gave them all away to the press.
Well, I saved because I opened these the other day, but I've been saving bits to enjoy throughout the week. So the raspberry lemonade was definitely one of my favourites. I think sometimes when you're sort of using berry flavours like raspberry and strawberry, there can be a tendency for it to be a bit too kind of candy sweet. Whereas with this, it's got that kind of nice, slightly jammy, seedy thing going on, which works really well just with the acidity of the lemonade. And it's a really like a classic traditional lemonade flavour. So I really enjoyed that. And then, well, I've tried all of them. I've got a lot of them here. The lavender was great. And normally that's a flavour that I'm quite wary of because there's a danger of it being too kind of powdery and soapy and floral. But it's just that kind of quite gentle hint of it. So that one works very well. I think actually maybe the hint of mint was my favourite. That's why it's all gone. It just, yeah, it's like drinking homemade lemonade with just a bunch of fresh mint in it. It's just really, really crisp and refreshing. I really liked that one.
I think they're going to be really awesome at the festival. Then, did you manage to get a Big Willie in?
I hate you.
Did you?
Well, as it happens, Laura, I've got a Big Willie right here.
Go on, get your hand around it.
Good God. I need two hands. Here we go.
And they call it Big Willie, the soft one. I don't think there's any hiding the fact that they've created a double entendre deliberately.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we've been making jokes about it all week, particularly because Saranda in our office is quite young and it's easy to make her blush. So she took a whole load of Big Willies home with her at the weekend.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been emailing Jen and Faizan all week. Have you got the Big Willie yet? Have you got the Big Willie yet? It's just our morning interaction. I really enjoyed this.
It's a ginger beer, we should say.
Yes, it's a ginger beer. Let's just clarify. They use ginger root, and they use quite a lot of vanilla. I think it's Tahitian vanilla. I've always enjoyed, is it the old Jamaica ginger beer? I've always liked that, but found it just a bit heavy going sometimes. I think the vanilla is really nice in this because it just kind of softens it a bit and just brings it all down. Makes it a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, it's not a fiery ginger beer in any way. It's actually a very mild but very flavourful ginger beer, I found.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Warming.
Yeah,
but,
so
but
I really like that. So so you can go and you can get your hands on a Big Willie at the festival, and we can do lots of sniggery jokes to camera throughout the whole of the Glasgow festival. It's actually a new product from AG Bar, so the people behind Iron Brew and all of those drinks. So that's their new bit, and I assume because they've got a soft one, they have a hard one as well, but I've not seen that.
I've not seen any hint of a hard one, but who knows? Maybe they do.
Oh, we're such children. It's great.
I knew I should have been so wary of this invitation.
Okay, let's talk about left field kombucha.
So again, haven't had them in a little while, but did have an entire case maybe a couple of months ago. I absolutely love them because, I mean, I've tried so many kombuchas that week when we did all of them. And there's so many fun flavors, but what I like with left field is that it's like it's for you, it's for the purist tea lover.
The only flavor in their kombucha is the fact that they've used different teas to brew their kombucha, and that makes me really happy. What made me very unhappy this week is I sent all the bottles away to the media and I've got none at all. I've not even tried any. So, but they're like having a real craft beer, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're very sippable. Again, it's not something that you just want to neck. I don't know how to word this properly. I feel like just using the tea and there's obviously a little bit of acidity in there. Something about that kind of gives a little bit more space to the flavors in the tea, and you can really isolate everything. So I actually really enjoyed trying them because I didn't even have to think hard about what I was getting from them. It was so clear. It was just like a little journey through a tea leaf. So I absolutely loved them. I thought they were fantastic.
And I think kombuchas are slowly separating into two types. There's the kombucha you'd get in a health food shop, and I picked up, UC picked one up for me the other day, which was a pineapple flavour. And you know, you'd pick that up in a health food store. And then there are people like Left Field and Lobros and also Real Kombucha, who are aiming for the evening, nighttime market and saying, actually, this kombucha and this flavour is a bit like a lager, and this kombucha and this flavour is a bit like a Prosecco, and this one's a bit like a cider. And actually, that's the range that kombucha can give you. And by flavouring with the teas, that's where they're getting to. They're getting to this very clean, pure finish. They're not having to pack in loads of fruit afterwards in order to hide the flavour. They're letting it shine.
Yeah, and I think there's something, I think particularly with Left Field, there's something quite mature about it. I feel like that's a kombucha that's really treating you as an adult consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jack, it's definitely worth trying different kombuchas. You say you found them quite yeasty, which is interesting because there is no yeast near it, but there's a SCOBY, and they can go a bit vinegary. And what I found with all the ones that are really putting their effort into brewing is they're taking away that really heavy acidity, like from the ones that I brew myself, which was shit basically. And they're creating a very clean product, but still with lots of live culture in it. So actually, if you have a kombucha in the evening when you go to the pub, the lowest in calorie is Lobros, which is 16 calories for the whole bottle, but they go up to about 40 calories a bottle. But you come out having drunk a load of live cultures in a very low sugar drink. And so actually, it's one of my top drinks for coming out the pub healthier. And I make no bones about taking my own kombucha to the pub if I feel it. So definitely do shop around. Kombucha, it's a bit like wine. You get what you pay for. And if you pay for £1.59 for an Equinox kombucha, that's very different to some of the slightly more expensive brands.
Yeah. One thing as well, Jack, to note is that vinegary taste. If you don't store your kombucha well, that can sort of change the flavour slightly. You do want to keep it chilled. So when I am buying kombucha, I won't necessarily buy it from, I don't know if there's a bit of a naff shop in town, but they've got some, but I can see that they've got cases stacked in a corner. I won't buy it because I know that they haven't stored it in the right way.
Yeah.
So it is important to keep it chilled, and that should also stop that vinegary thing from developing too much.
Yeah, because it carries on fermenting in the bottle, basically. So the cold stops it fermenting because, like me, a SCOBY doesn't like the cold. But and yes, you're right, you might not have seen it in bars yet because I suspect it's a bit of a London thing still. But the best way to make sure that you can find it in a bar is to take it with you and then just get it out and put it in a glass. That's what I do. So
I'm absolutely not meant to encourage that, but I 100% do.
So, well, you know, I will buy food and do other things in the pub as well. So definitely, there is, Anya's done a really good kombucha roundup on our website. And so if you just type in kombucha on joinclubsoda.co.uk, you will find that review. Let's move on to middleway drinks. Have you tried middleway? So middleway
have some left.
Is a kefir drink. Is that how you say it, kefir? So again, another drink with a live product in. But most of you may have seen kefir as a health food drink made with a milk. And this is different. Tell us about it.
So I had never drank, is it kefir or kefir? I don't know.
Kefir. Wait a minute. I've been listening to the Archers for months. Of course it's kefir.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, God.
So I had never drunk kefir before. My boyfriend brought home one of the, is it like milky or yogurty? Yeah,
they're normally made with a milk, but you can make them with the water.
So he started bringing that home, and I was just like, no, I'm not getting this. So middleway.
It's very sour, isn't it, in the milk product?
I feel like I'll learn to love that. I just haven't yet. So this was quite interesting to try because it's kefir water. So I did make a mistake when I did the review the other day, but we've corrected it because I was like, what is kefir? So I was having a read. It's a grain. So I think it's very similar to how kombucha is made. It's a grain and it ferments with sugars, but then they pasteurize it, so it's no longer live. It's not probiotic. So, I mean, I really enjoyed them. They're very sort of soft in flavour. There's still sort of with the lemon and the apple and ginger, you've still got kind of that nice sort of citrusy acidity, but there's something about it that's just a little bit softer and more easygoing. Kind of more like, what did I think of it? When I drank the lemon one, it made me think of the flavour of lemon curd. I need to think more about what exactly I mean by that, but it's a bit lemon curdy. And the cherry one I thought was really good because I think usually with cherry flavours it tastes a bit kind of false, and just a bit too, wow, I must be drinking all the sugar in the world. This has still got that kind of childhood reminiscence thing when, you know, we used to get those frozen ice pops that were different, like fizzy flavours. It reminds me of that, but again, it's not too sweet. It's really tasty, and it's just, they're all quite light. They make me want to go for picnics in summary. That's how I feel about Middle Way.
That's cool. I haven't tried them yet. We've got some in the office, so I'm going to try those. And then the one thing you haven't tried, it's another Scottish brand, and I've been focusing on the Scottish brands, is Chastity Gin.
I'm so desperate to try this.
I know, well, they're launching at the festival and they're going to be doing VIP tastings. But I'm really interested in Chastity Gin because, like, I got this call from a guy called Roddy. He says, I'm making an alcohol-free gin in Glasgow and la, 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 we're coming to the festival. And then I didn't hear anything from him. And then he went, yeah, we're definitely coming to this festival. What can we do to launch? And I was like, I don't even know who you are. Anyway, when I finally managed to pin him down 1 week ago, that's how recent it is. It turns out that he is a guy who's been bringing back all the childhood favourite sweets to Scotland. And there's a story about him in February this year, having brought back lots of childhood sweets from the 70s. And the newspapers call him the Scottish Willy Wonka. And I suddenly thought, wow, this is amazing. Today. Yeah, there is. Why has he made a gin after doing all of these things? And he's got an autistic son, and his son asked him why he drank gin and tonic, and he told his son that it's because he liked the taste. And his son said, well, if it's about the taste, would you drink it if there wasn't alcohol in it? And Roddy saw this as a challenge. He thought, actually, there's a point here. What if there wasn't alcohol in it? Can I make a gin that tastes like gin without the alcohol in? And so not only has he experimented and created this, but he also works with an organisation called Remploy, which I really, really like, which is giving people with disabilities, particularly learning disabilities, jobs. And so all of the product is packaged by people who work for Remploy. And of course, because he does a lot within the autism movement, there's a lot of autistic people who are packaging this. So it's actually a really lovely story all in all. And we haven't tasted it yet, but apparently it's going into Ocado on the 1st of November.
Oh, cool.
And for those of you who I know will go, oh, well, we're up north and we don't have Ocado, I cannot tell you how big a deal it is for people who make these products to get something in a supermarket. Most of these companies that are coming into the fold right now, you know, there's these 10 gins have just appeared. You know, it's going to be really hard for them. And I really admire anyone who tries to bring a drink to market, because you have to develop it, you have to love it, you have to get people to taste it and test it and refine it. Then you have to make loads and bottle it. Then you have to try and get lots of people to taste it and decide if they're going to buy it. And then you've got to get people to put it on the shelves, and wholesalers and restaurants and everything don't want to put new things on their shelves because we as consumers are scared of new things. We're not excited by them, we're scared by them. So I have a great admiration for all the people who produce new products. And so yes, while you may not be able to get hold of them very easily at the moment, I'm assuming you will soon. And we'll get the first taste at the Glasgow Festival. So I'm hoping all of you coming will get to taste it. So that's cool. I'm going to just cover a couple of other drinks that will be there, and I haven't covered them totally because they've been to previous festivals. But Berkshire Blend are coming along, or Berkshire Blend, however you want to say it. I maybe not said it right, because when I said it to Janet the other day, she went, "What are you on about?" "Oh, Berkshire Blend," and I was like, "Oh, I've said it wrong." They're coming along, as are Barago. So I know a lot of you really like Barago, also as an alternative gin that's got a very peppery feel to it. They'll be there. Have you tried Barago? Yeah.
Yes, I've got a bottle on my cabinet.
Cool. You must have the most exciting cabinet at the moment.
It's pretty great.
Alcohol-free G&T will be there with their Cuba Libre as well. And Silk Tree from Ireland will be there. And just for Dawn and my mum, Pimento will be there as well. So if you think Big Willie's too soft for you, then you can get a Pimento, which is the fieriest ginger beer on the planet. And then another new one for some people, which is Ghost Ship, which is Adnam's new alcohol-free beer. Have you tried the Ghost Ship yet?
I've not, no.
All right, Janet tells me it's Berkshire, not Berkshire. Berkshire.
Berkshire?
Yes, that's how to say it.
Yes.
So Adnam's Ghost Ship, which is going on tap in a number of places. So you need to look out for that, and we'll let people know. But Adnam's have also got a range of alcohol-free wines, which I think I might put up separately on the festival website. But they will be bringing wines to the festival. The other and Iceberg will be there as normal as well. They just got a really lovely review on Radio Sussex with Jane Payton, who is Jane Payton's a star. You should hear her interview on Radio Sussex, because she like repeats all the Club Soda things. Don't see these as a fake wine, see it as a drink in its own right. Yay!
Yay!
There'll also be some Clayton's Cola Tonic, which we have yet to review, and Big Drop will be there. And for anyone who hadn't seen, Shrub have just agreed to come up, which I'm very excited about, because as you know, Shrub is one of my favourite drinks. He popped into the office the other day and dropped us off a load of bottles, and we persuaded him to do that. There will be a few other things to know about the festival. One is that the Smart Beer Club is coming, which is a new startup company that will be doing a monthly beer box of different beers, alcohol-free beers. And so he will be bringing some of the beers that aren't able to come to the festival to the event. And do you know which ones he's bringing? Do you know which Smart Beer Club is bringing?
I think that'll be
Brax, Cypher,
and OPA from Leeds.
And an OPA from Leeds. Have you tried the OPA from Leeds?
From Leeds Brewery?
Yeah.
I actually haven't, because despite living in Leeds, not that many places stock Leeds Brewery beer. I think they probably send it far and wide, and I don't see that much of it around. I've got a bottle of the Cypher in my fridge.
I've got one here, look. So this is a new one, and this is also made. Is this made in Leeds as well? He is, isn't he? Oh no, Ripon, York.
Yeah, he's further north. Yeah.
Oh, we should get him at the York social. So yeah, we'll have the Leeds OPA. We'll have Cypher, and there will also be a number of products on the Liquid Academy bar. I believe Gordon's alcohol-free gin may be there, and a couple of others are planning to come along, and I'm just confirming who they are. They will also be doing 3 cocktails using the ingredients, so largely based around CEDER'S and pimento and stuff like that at the festival, which is really good as well. Just to let you know a couple of other things, we'll have a panel of people talking about socializing sober. And on that panel, I'm really excited about this panel. We have, let me just tell you, we have author Craig McDougall, who is an author and broadcaster. You might recognise him. He's been sober for 30 years, and we'll be talking about his experiences. We've got Sana, who is Sana Hussein, who's Muslim. She's a young Muslim woman who also does boxing, and she's a radio presenter. And I'm really pleased, because I want to make sure that we bring you know, in this great world of changing drinking, in amongst this, in our allies, as I would call them, are people who've never drunk for religious reasons, and they're beginning to come along to the festival and find drinks for themselves and be excited about the changes that are happening in pubs and bars. Sana goes out socialising in pubs and bars, but doesn't want to drink. And so her needs are just the same as our needs. We also have River City actor Stephen McCall, who's a moderate drinker. And to balance that out, we've got Jen from Club Soda, who's also a moderate drinker, and Lucy Rocker from Soberistas on that panel. So that's going to be a really exciting discussion about the challenges of socialising sober. Heineken are bringing William van Weisberg, I'm sure that's how you say it, their master brewer. They're going to be using, some of you put up pictures of the new Heineken Blade machine, which is their new tap machine, and they'll have that there, and you'll have a chance to pour a perfect pint under the watchful eye of Willem. I don't know how they're going to do it, but he will judge your perfect pint. So look out for that. We're also going to have 2 cocktail competitions, one for bartenders in Glasgow, and we've got 5 of the best bartenders taking part in that. So you'll get to see how the experts do it. But more importantly is there's one for you. And I'm already thinking, you know, Dawn will probably want to get up there and muck around with some ingredients. A few of you coming, I'm pretty sure we can get you up on stage. There's going to be some things like the history of the Glasgow pub. There's going to be one-to-one advice like there has been at previous festivals. There's also going to be a workshop about fermented drinks. So if you want to try and make your own kefir or your own kombucha, then you can have it. There'll be 2 small workshops on that. And then today we've just agreed the lineup of music, which is absolutely awesome. I've just listened to all of their EPs and we're really lucky. And Sober Clubbing are doing the DJing. So that's really good and really exciting. Jack, you've asked a buyers from big supermarkets going. Sometimes they come incognito, but I'm also hoping to have a meeting with Tesco's soon to talk to them. And if you've got any doubt, I mean, Tesco's really stole a march on everyone else. It's taking everyone else a little while to get there. But the fact that Marks and Spencer's suddenly up to their game and realise that it's not all about the fizzy squash. I believe Nirvana might be going into Marks and Spencer's very soon, from what I hear. Sainsbury's have now got CEDER'S in, and they're beginning to change their stock. So some of them are a bit slower behind, but that's definitely changing. And so don't underestimate the influence this community is having on some of that and some of the work that we've been doing around venues. And in January, it's worth saying that all the research that you're doing, Anja, will go into the first ever app for mindful drinkers, which will tell you about where every drink is, tell you about every drink, and also where to buy it from. So it's going to be an interesting experience. I think we're going to end up having quite a busy November, December, working out all the kinks in that. It's going to be fun, but we'll be talking to you a bit more about how you can help us recruit venues for that. So yeah, I'm really excited and absolutely terrified about Glasgow. So if anyone was considering coming and not sure if you should or could, cheap flights, 30 quid, come on up for the day. It'd be really easy to do, and I would absolutely love to see you. And it will, I think you'll get a real lot out of the event, and I'm really chuffed that there's so many members coming to volunteer for the community space. You won't see Anja. Anja's not there.
Sorry.
Why are you not there? Did we not invite you? No, we probably didn't, did we?
I already had a play in a band, and we're coming to a close, but we've got like all our final shows in the next few weeks. So I was already booked for that.
That's all right.
To be honest, I'd rather come and drink tasty things with you.
If you do not need a passport actually to come to Scotland, Joe, you've just need some photo ID. So there's no excuse. Come on up. And if any of you are wondering, stick January the 19th in your diary for the next London festival, which we will be doing indoors in London. Phew.
Exciting.
Right. We've been speaking for, well, who knows, because we had a full start. But
Yeah.
I think I am so glad that you've come on board to do our drink reviews, Anja, because I found those really useful. And I know that our drink reviews have gone up a notch. There's now so many new products coming out. We could just do a drink review every day at the moment. But we're going to keep you busy over the next few weeks.
Yeah, lovely.
All right.
You've kept me well hydrated for a while now.
Cool. I'll chat to you soon. All right.
Magical. See you later. Have a lovely evening.